So we are done masking the last. The next thing I'm going to do is to draw my center line and also get all the cardinal points necessary. So I'm going to show you briefly how I was able to get all the cardinal points. First, place your last this way, then mark the ball point, and also turn to this side, mark the ball point. Then place your tape on both marked area this way, and then you take a line that will cross the center line, and you are going to have your vamp point and your vamp line. Now you're going to divide your vamp line, that's from the vamp point to the ball point, you divide it into two. So after dividing it into two, you're going to have your low lateral instep point here. This is it here. So you mark it on the vamp line, then come to the back here and then measure from the edge of the sole, from the edge of the last to this place, 2.5. That is going to be your counter point. Place your tape on your counter point, bring it down to the low lateral instep point, and then you are going to draw your cutter line. You see it? So it is very simple. So after doing all that, now you measure your instep from here to here. We're going to take half inch as our instep point, then place your tape on that measurement, bring it down to the cutter line, and then take a line that will land on the cutter line on angle 90. So after doing that, the next thing, we're going to start creating the pattern. That is, we're going to start drawing the pattern. So I'm going to use my French curve, place it on the cutter line and then on the line from the instep, and then I'm going to take a curve that will land on the cutter line from the instep point. So with that, we have our collar opening for this shoe. So we have gotten our collar opening, so I'm trying to make it visible. So now you're going to add from your counterpoint, you add half inch from your counterpoint, half inch, then take a curve from that point through the quarter line. So now let's proceed. So now we are going to decide the less holes. So from the center line to here is half inch. That's the gap where the less holes will be. From the center line is half inch. So you mark for the first less hole, leave gap about 0.3 inch. Then from that one, place your tape down to this line, the vamp line. From that first less holes, you're going to measure another half inch from the center line below, just close to the vamp line. Then place your tape on the marked less hole on the instep point, then down to the measurement below the vamp line. Then now you're going to be giving gap of ½ inch for each less hole, so it is going to be 5. So now you see we have 5 less holes. So we have gotten the less hole. Now let's draw the tongue. So slightly above the instep point, take the drawing for your tongue. So we're going to measure from the center line to somewhere here 1 inch. That's for the tongue. So take the measurement 1 inch here. Now take from the center line, then bring it this way, take it down towards the vamp line. So we have our tongue. So now these are less hole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where it stops. Then take it down, leave another ½ inch gap, and then end the tongue at that point. End it at that point. So we're almost done. So come to the back here, measure from your counter point down ½ inch again, so that we're going to take ½ inch from the counter point down, then take a curve from that point to the quarter line. Okay, so we have done that. Sorry, let me make some corrections. So I've done that. So this is what we have. You see it? So now we are done with the diagram. So we're done with the drawing. We're done this with the sketching. We are done. We're going to proceed to the next step. We're going to cut it out, then develop the pattern. So hope you can see what we have. So let's proceed. So remove the pattern from the last, draw a straight line on your cardboard paper. You see the straight line, you see it. Now gently paste the pattern on the cardboard paper. From the vamp point to the cap is going to be on the straight line, while from the vamp point to the instep is going to be above the line. That is according to the shape of the last. So gradually make sure you properly paste the pattern on the cardboard paper. Avoid too much crease. So we're going to give some slight cuts where necessary. So after doing that, extend your vamp line, and then from the vamp point to the cap you take a line, then from the vamp point to the instep you take another line. So I'm going to also retake the quarter line, So after making some adjustment, the next thing is to add our lasting allowance, and I'm going to be adding 1.5 inch as the lasting allowance. 1.5 inch. So after doing that, punch the holes for the less holes, then cut for your marking dots, that's the tongue, and then you cut it into shape. Don't forget to cut the marking dot for these two, you see it? So, and also here you can see it. So let's proceed. So now you're going to cut off this extra here, cut it off, then fold your cardboard paper into two that will contain the pattern. Watch closely to see how I'm going to spring the vamp here. So from the vamp point to the cap, place it on the straight line that's on the edge of the folded cardboard paper from here to here, you see it? So I'm going to mark from the cap from here to here on the straight line, you see it? So I'm going to mark from the cap here down to the vamp line. So once I get to the vamp line, I'm going to stop. So I stopped at the vamp line here, and I'm going to place my compass on the low lateral instep point. Then I'm going to turn the pattern, then align from the instep to the vamp point on the straight line this time around, from here to here. You see it? And then I'm going to mark out the remaining part of the pattern. Very simple. Make sure you mark out all the details. Very important. Both the lace holes, the tongue, and everything. Make sure you do that. Just making sure that all the details are intact. So now we are going to add our stitching allowance at the back here, about 0.3. That's going to be our stitching allowance here at the counter. And our folding allowance here on the collar opening is going to be the same measurement, about 0.3 inch. So about 0.3 inch, take it straight to the instep. So after doing that, we use our staple to hold the two pieces of cardboard paper together to make sure they are not moving while we cut the pattern into shape. So before cutting the pattern into shape, mark out your marking dot, then punch the hole for the lace, then mark the details. Make sure you cut the marking holes or dots for all the details. And after that, you can now cut the pattern into shape. You see it? So after cutting it into shape, we remove the staple pin. Remember to cut this one too. See it? So after doing that, you open the pattern and then cut open the tongue area from the center line. So with that, we are done with this stage. So you see it. See what we have arrived at. So we're going to proceed now to the next. We're going to proceed to the next. So you see what we have here. You see it. So let's proceed. We're going to fold our cardboard paper into two and then mark out this counter patch. We are going to mark it out now. So align here to the folded edge, and then you mark out the counter patch. After marking it out, let's make it clear. So after marking it out, you're going to add allowance at the top here. You're going to add allowance about 0.3 inch. Add the allowance there. Then after doing that, you cut out the marking dot. That's from that allowance. From the allowance, you cut the marking dot. Then cut the rest of them into shape. So this is what we have. You see it? That's for the counter patch. You see it? So now everything is intact. It's okay. So let's go over to the next one. Now fold your cardboard paper into two. Also this time around, we're going to mark out the tongue. So now place the center line on the folded edge and then mark out the detail for the tongue. So after doing that, add your allowance. You see the allowance I added, stitching allowance. Then cut your marking dot and then cut it into shape. So we have done that, and the patterns are ready. So the tongue is going to be placed from the inside as always. So now mark your pattern facing. This is it. See it? So don't forget to do that. So that's all we have got. If you have any question, drop them in the comment section, and also don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates, because we are going to also learn how to make the shoe, this particular shoe. So have a nice day, and see you in my next video.